You're about to meet an extraordinary man who's known as the Lion Whisperer. Kevin Richardson's bond with Africa's dominant predator is as astonishing as it is touching. He's devoted his life to understanding and protecting the mighty lion, which is battling human encroachment and shrinking habitat. And while captive lions are being bred and housed in increasing numbers across Africa, it's now feared that within just 20 years, there will be no lions born free.
Oh.
It looks like utter madness. Wrestling a 200-kilogram lion. But Kevin Richardson has a special gift. An uncanny ability to understand these magnificent creatures. It's why this South African has won global attention as the Lion Whisperer.
This is fantastic.
You work with a lion the same way you would with a human. You know, you kind of, it's all five senses, and then there is a sixth sense. And it's not hokey pokey, it's true. There's a certain amount of telepathy where you kind of could look at the animal and understand what it's about to do or thinking. And that's a beautiful sight. Isn't that a beautiful sight? You're driving down the road and there's some lions walking towards you.
We're with Kevin at his sanctuary just outside of Pretoria in South Africa, where he keeps his 26 lions.
Come, boy.
For the past 16 years, Kevin has been raising his big cats from cubs. And to them, he's just another member of the pride.
She's just bloomin' naughty, this girl.
They play rough, don't they?
No, they do. It's not for sissies playing with lions. Especially with old Livy over here, who can be very, very naughty at times. I am going to give you a smack.
Every animal needs a human champion, and the lion is lucky to have the likes of Kevin Richardson fighting so passionately for its very survival. These majestic animals are disappearing from the wild at a frightening rate, and some say that within 20 years there will be no lions born free in Africa. What do you see as the lion's biggest threat?
Habitat loss and human encroachment. So humans, obviously, when they come into conflict with lions, lions are the loser.
200 years ago, there was thought to be 1 million lions in Africa. Now, that number is less than 30,000.
Africa is the last stronghold of the large animals, and it's our last chance to save the world, as it has been for hundreds of millions of years.
Are we running out of time?
I don't think it's too late, but it's getting close.
Biologist Dr. Lawrence Frank first came to Africa in the 60s. Since then, he's watched the human and livestock populations explode, putting unprecedented pressure on lion numbers. How do you tell a farmer who's living on the razor edge of survival that killing the beast that eats his livestock is wrong?
It's very, very difficult, and I cannot honestly tell a traditional pastoralist that he should maintain wildlife simply because we in the West want him to. These people have been told by conservationists for 50 years now, you protect the wildlife and your life will get better. Well, for the most part, that hasn't been true. And after 50 years, they're tired of being lied to.
Laikipia, an hour's light aircraft journey north of Nairobi, is one of the most beautiful regions in Kenya. and it's home to much of Africa's iconic wildlife. It is spectacular, and what's even more extraordinary is that this relatively small nature reserve is surrounded by dozens of cattle ranches. And it's here that Dr. Frank is finding a way for humans, livestock and lions to coexist.
This is the modern GPS collar. These are all batteries. The electronics are up here.
So it's got to be pretty sturdy.
We've only been using this for the last 3 months now, but thus far everything is working. And in wildlife biology, you don't expect your technology to work. It's very tough. Here's Lycipia, and this is 2 of our current lions.
At the Impala Research Centre, where Dr. Frank works, the new GPS collars are doing much more than locating each pride. They're actually helping to save lions' lives.
We can program these collars in a procedure called geofencing or virtual fencing to let us know when the animal strays where it's unwelcome, giving us the potential for literally going out in a pickup truck and herding them back across the boundary to where they are welcome.
Using the GPS coordinates, Dr. Frank is able to pinpoint not only where the collared lions are resting each night, but also possible kill sites.
Here's a jaw.
It's quite fresh, isn't it?
Young zebra.
They didn't leave much, did they?
Didn't leave much at all.
This part of Africa is rugged bushland, and the Lycipian lions we're tracking are wild, elusive creatures. Even with the GPS collars, they're hard to find.
We were just here, so let's go up and check here just to make sure.
Right.
In 2.23 kilometers. Fix hash 2092.
This escarpment is their last known location. Now, it's a waiting game.
Sometimes it works. Nope.
Oh, there she is. She's standing up. Oh, she's beautiful.
You can see her collar.
She's eyeballing us.
Yeah.
We've been tracking this female for 3 days, almost giving up hope that she was going to show her face. And she's just come up over the ridge. We're hoping that if we're really quiet, she'll come out even further and we can get a really good look at her.
We see them so rarely here. Actually laying eyes on them is quite unusual.
So we're quite lucky today.
This is special, and of course we can only do it because she's collared.
These animals aren't used to tourists surrounding them in minibuses. They're very wary.
Oh, there, look. Oh my gosh. That's the second one. That's the second line,
Yes.
isn't it?
So spotting them is all the more rewarding.
Oh, look at this. Wow.
I don't want to see this come to an end simply because we're too short-sighted to take the modest steps needed to save it forever. And a world without wild animals, to me, it's just a farm.
But disturbingly, there is a type of lion farm emerging in parts of Africa where the animals are bred to be shot for fun by wealthy tourists.
There is this horrific industry in southern Africa, which is euphemistically called canned hunting. I prefer to call it canned killing, where animals are raised in captivity. They're eventually released into a pen and some tourist hunter blasts a thing.
From a tourism value, a lion is just worth so much more alive than dead. You shoot that lion, it's one fee and he's gone. Whereas if you keep him alive,
How many people come to a property to photograph him and view him? What is that collectively over the lifespan of a lion?
For Kevin, his lions are like family. And it's hard to fathom why anyone would want to harm a beautiful animal like Vayetzi.
How could you not love that face?
How could you not? Eh? And how can you not love those teeth?
My eyes keep being drawn to the size of his paws.
Yeah, he's got some of the biggest paws in a lion that I've seen. So I mean, you compare his paw to her paw. Big difference.
Well, they're still both pretty big.
There we go. That's how I get my hair washed. Yeah, that's lovely. A little bit to the left.
I didn't wash there yesterday. In the front. Ooh, you bite me. Oh, I'll bite you back.
But for all Kevin's rapport with Vayetzi and his other 25 lions,
Fine, just stop your movement, guys.
I'll stop our move. Okay.
the fact is, there's no such thing as a truly tame lion.
Come, let's go lie down. 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 Oh.
Kevin's just told us to stay very still. The male lion has taken an interest in us, and he's just trying to assert his dominance and get him to move away.
No. Liz on? Yeah. Liz down stomach? No, boy. No. Start. Start the car. And go.
So,
go.
go.
Stop. Go.
Go.
Liz on.
Okay.
Slowly, keep the pace.
Now, God.
Just keep the pace.
Shit.
Just come over here.
Shit. No. Just.
Where's Ian?
Whew.
Despite their wild instincts, not one of Kevin's lions could hunt and survive on their own if released.
I'll stick one over here.
They're his responsibility until they die. And that's led to the realisation that having lions in captivity won't ensure the long-term survival of the species.
So what are we achieving by putting lions in cages and keeping them there? If that's the way the human species is going, then maybe I don't want to be a part of that. I don't know. I think it's worthwhile fighting to conserve what's out there in the wilds.
The value of these magnificent creatures is a question for all of us. If the very symbol of untamed Africa is to live on.
This is the story of how we begin to remember.
What do we lose if the lion disappears?
The world will continue without lions, but if lions go, everything else is going as well. Everything. I hate to sound like a fuzzy environmentalist, but it's all very, very much more interconnected than most of us realize. And the lion is a part of that. We might be able to survive as a planet losing various bits and pieces, but we can't lose it all at the rate we are losing it and still have a habitable planet a few hundred years from now.
Slowly.